Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Open for Business, and I've got another great guest on the show today. Gary Husted, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Are you busy?
Yeah, a little bit.
You are super busy.
Yes, sir.
I tell you, I watch you and I follow you, and we talk and we get to see, and I'm like, you are always moving and grooving, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, being slow right now is not a good problem.
Sure.
You know, I like being busy. So let's talk about now. A lot of us know you as Gary Husted Home Services, but
Right.
now you are G2.
Correct.
Same thing. It's
Right.
just, I like the cool logo.
Making a little change. The beginning of January, my dad and me, basically I bought out his half of the business, and he's going to be retiring in August. So we also made a little change to the G2 Home Services, and most people know us by G2 anyways, as it is.
Right.
But it's just kind of more of an official thing now.
Gary and Gary.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how long have you guys been around?
We started this business, the first iterations of this business in 2009, I believe, which was right in that first real estate crash that we had.
Right in the crash.
Yeah, great idea we had, right? But it did give us a big opportunity to learn and to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. So.
So did you just start off in just remodeling in the beginning, or?
So actually we've only had our residential contractor's license for the past 4 years. Okay. So prior to that, what actually got us started was we were doing handyman type projects. We were doing bank cleanouts. There was all those foreclosures. So we got in with several realtors that were doing foreclosure cleanouts. We had to maintain those properties as well as far as the lawns and things like that go. So we had all the lawn equipment. Next thing you know, we're doing lawn care.
Good Lord, you were doing everything.
Yeah, and so we did a lot of this stuff. But what ended up happening is the realtor started asking us like, well, hey, you cleaned out that property. Do you think you could put some carpet in there, or do you think you could paint it for us? And next thing you know, we were kind of off and rolling on that. And that's when we realized like, okay, we need to be licensed to do this work.
Right.
And so we went and got the contractor's license from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it funny how just things progress?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're doing simple stuff, the clean outs, the handyman, just a little little drywall, change the light socket out or whatever.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're doing lawns. And next
Yeah.
thing you know, oh, well, hey, we can fix that.
Yeah.
And it just blows
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
to this.
We were very lucky that this path was kind of laid out in front of us. I really feel that, because I never expected this. Kind of when me and my dad started this business, that's what we always thought was like it was going to be more of like a handyman type business, and the doors just kind of opened for us. I mean, next we just went there, and I love this work. I love the remodeling aspect of this. I love the fact that I could remodel 10 houses on the same road that are identical models, and every kitchen would be completely different, and every bathroom would be completely different. And it's just that's what's so cool about it to me.
So now, do you go from? Can you do raw land to finished product now?
Absolutely. Yeah, with our license, we absolutely can. I haven't done any new construction houses yet. We've done several room additions where we're adding square footages, which is basically a small version of a house. We're adding bathrooms, we're adding kitchens, we're doing things like that. We did one last year in Hudson that was actually an elevated addition. So the houses past 2004 have to attest with that new flood code.
Yep.
And so the house was built up there. So we actually had to build the addition up there as well.
Whoa.
So that was kind of neat.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a neat project to do, and it was we learned a lot and kind of went from there. So we haven't done any new construction yet, but it is something that piques my interest.
I love watching that whole process.
Yeah.
I grew up as a preacher's kid.
Okay.
And one of the churches he did was the founding members of the church were a huge construction company.
Okay. Yeah.
So my dad was like, "Oh, well, here's John. It's free labor."
Right.
So I literally learned from breaking ground to the final trim, the fine tune stuff.
That's what I love, though, is seeing that process, seeing every day. When you're doing a project like that, every day it's a finished product. Every day it's like, okay, we started here, and when you can see that at the end, it's just an amazing process.
Right. So now, are you the design side? Or do you have someone for that?
So I that's a twofold answer. Okay. We actually have just partnered.
Take your time. We got 21 minutes, brother.
We've actually just partnered with Daniel's Design and Decor, who is a new designer to the area. And so they do a lot of premium services, whether it be health and wellness, whether it be high-end finishes and things like that. But I also do a small design process on my side as well. So when we do kitchens and bathrooms, we always start every job with a design consultation process. And with that, I come out to the house, I measure everything up. We go through, selections, taste, different styles, things like that they like. And then basically I meet them over at the showroom. We pick out all their materials from start to finish. Once I do that, I have the subcontractors come out,
Gotcha.
plumbers, electricians, and we get some fixed pricing from those guys. We get our pricing back from our vendors and things like that. And then I give them a fixed price proposal for their job. So we actually do the design first and then do the construction.
Nice. Now, are you finding, are materials a problem anymore?
I haven't had any issues with materials. Typically, right now, the permitting process with these municipalities is about 6 to 8 weeks. So what we do is once we get through the design phase and we collect that, basically have that contract signed and collect that deposit, the first two things I do is we order all the materials and we file for the permits. And usually those two things run concurrent with each other. Right. And by the time the permit's ready, the materials are in and we can go to work.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, because there before it's like, oh yeah, send a container off the country.
Exactly. Yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like,
no, and
really?
that was a huge issue there for a long time, and that's what got us started on this process. And again, has continued to work well because sometimes we do order materials that aren't available, or they're on back order or whatever it is. But if we've got 6 weeks to get them in, as long as you order them right away,
Right,
then
right.
you don't have any issues with it.
And, waiting to the last minute to do stuffing is kind of. Now I'm looking on here. You have design consulting.
Yep.
You have kitchen remodeling, room additions,
Yep.
and bathroom remodeling. I want to talk about kitchen remodeling
Sure.
real quick.
Yep.
What's the new cool surface to have in your kitchen right now?
There's a lot of different things that are out there right now. As far as countertops go, quartz is the king right now. We do a lot of quartz countertops. It's durable. You don't have to seal it. The way that it looks is just, they're coming out with new design options every day. There's tons of different manufacturers, tons of different price points. Quartz is just a great option. The one downside to quartz is it is not heat resistant.
Really?
Yes. So it's because basically the way that quartz is made, it's a quartz boulder that's basically ground up into very fine particles and then it's mixed with a resin and laid out to look like that countertop.
Oh.
So because of the resin, it's not actually heat resistant, where like a granite or something like that is.
Right.
So the quartz itself is a great option, but if you're prone to taking pots and pans off the stove and setting them on your countertop,
Which I do all the time.
Quartz is not for you, John.
Okay. So what is the hardest surface? What is the toughest surface to have in your kitchen?
Well, they just all have pros and cons.
Okay.
Granite is a great surface to have because it is durable. It is heat resistant. The one downside to granite is that being a natural material, it's porous. And so we obviously put a sealer on that.
Right.
But with the comings of the last few years of everything being the whites and the grays and the lighter tones,
right.
You can very easily spill a pasta sauce or something like that, or even cutting a tomato, and it can eat through that sealer, and now your countertops are stained.
Gotcha.
And that can potentially be an issue because sometimes they can't be repaired. So pros and cons to each. I don't think there's one that's just far ahead in the
Better
lead,
than the
or
other.
if there was, it would be the one that was used all the time. But
What do you think about concrete?
concrete countertops are a great option too, especially for outdoor kitchens and things like that.
Okay.
Not a whole lot of companies out there doing them right now, but they are a neat option if you want that kind of look to your house.
Right.
So I do like them, but for me, I'm a quartz guy.
I like being able to cut
Right.
on the surface.
Yeah.
That to me is a big where
Yep.
my knife is going to not mess it
Exactly.
up.
Yep.
And I do love taking my pots and pans
Yep.
off because it takes the
Yep.
heat and it doesn't shatter.
Exactly.
And,
So granite's probably what would be best for you then.
Yeah.
Those are the best options for that.
and so the light colors are coming back to more.
Yeah, and you can get granite. That's the thing. For the longest time, more of the granites were the darker colors and those darker tones. But now you're able to get some lighter color granites. It kind of shifted for a minute where everything in quartz was whites and that type of thing. And so now you can get some granites that are whites too, and they look nice. You know what I mean? Then you've got obviously past the quartzes, the marbles and the quartzites, which are both natural materials. But I usually try to steer customers away from those if they're using their kitchen every day.
Yeah.
If we're building a showpiece, then quartzite and marble are great for it.
Beautiful.
But if you are a cook and you use your kitchen, I always try to steer the customers away from that.
What about these? I have because I am a TikTok
Sure.
fanatic, and I love watching new things. I actually saw a house the other day in the kitchen was doing those big epoxy pours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, don't those mark up with knives?
Well, the epoxy, I guess it depends on what type of epoxy you're using and there are some do-it-yourself kits that I probably wouldn't recommend. But there are a lot of professionals out there that are working with epoxy now, and the look is beautiful. And what's nice with those is a lot of times you can go right over a concrete countertop or a Formica countertop and not have any issues with it. And that's a neat and very inexpensive way of updating your kitchen, you know?
Yeah, it's our black backsplash is a thing still.
Yeah, yeah. We every kitchen we do some type of
Really?
backsplash. Yeah,
All right.
Yep.
I've here lately. I've gone into houses and I
Yeah.
look in their kitchen. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
they don't have a backsplash.
Right, right. A lot of the new builds, especially, they're not doing them. They're just putting drywall in there. But a tile backsplash is a great thing that can help accentuate your kitchen.
Right.
I always tell people you got two different options when you're doing this. If you're going to spend your big bucks on your countertop, if you're going to do a Cambria or a Silestone quartz, which is big money stuff, you don't want to have a real eccentric backsplash. You want to have something that's a little bit softer, something that's a little nicer and going to flow. Now, if you got more of a very light tone countertop that doesn't have a lot of that stuff to it, then you can go all out on your backsplash
Right.
and put something really eye-catching up there. The last thing you want is a kitchen that's got both. It's a really eye-catching backsplash and a really eye-catching countertop, because they'll clash.
Right.
And you'll kind of be like, what? I mean, they both look nice, but maybe they shouldn't have gone together.
So are there people doing? And I hate to get. I'm not harping on kitchens.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Is it a tile? Is it a tile material, or do you find that you still have some of the copper, the inlay stuff?
We don't do a whole lot of metal stuff or anything like that. We do a lot of tile backsplashes. And another one of the big things that's in right now is just continuing the countertop material up the backsplash. So so you can do either a 2 centimeter or a 3 centimeter backsplash that runs up behind, basically up to the bottom of the upper cabinets. And it's really a good look, but it's expensive. If you've got a countertop material that's $135 a square foot,
Right.
you add that backsplash to it, you just added a lot of square footage to your
Gotcha.
space. So it really depends on what they're after, what the budget is. I mean, I say this all the time. We can build a kitchen to any budget. They just
Right.
have to be able to be flexible about what it is. There is a lot of, one of my favorite things is, I can build a $40,000 kitchen, but what I can't do is build a $80,000 kitchen for $40,000.
Right,
So as long as they're open to that and understanding, we can help out everybody.
So last thing I'm going to ask you is about kitchens is sinks.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of underhung
Yep.
black. I'm not sure what the material is. And then I'm also seeing the beaten copper,
Yeah.
which I would have never in a million
Yeah.
years that I'm going to put a copper sink in because it'll be green before.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I actually love the way that the copper looks, even after it's been installed for a while. It's a very
Okay.
neat look. The ones that you're referring to as far as the black ones and things like that, those are actually a granite composite.
Green.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so those are really neat as well. They're not super expensive as far
Heavy
as pricing
maintenance
goes.
on them?
No,
To keep 'em black
No,
or
they're
keep 'em
actually
gray?
not. They actually maintain really well. And it's something different than stainless. You know what I mean? A lot of times we're having issues. Everybody's putting in now. It's the stainless steel sinks that have the grates on the bottom of them to help, be able to
Yeah.
store stuff, dry stuff,
Right.
Which are great. But a lot of times those grates end up scratching the bottom of the stainless steel sink.
Right.
Now you've got a scratch in your brand new sink, and it can create some issues for you. So the granite composite is just a great option out there. That's something different,
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Let's jump to bathrooms.
Okay.
So because I heard bathrooms are like the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing a lot of them right now. The biggest thing with bathrooms and really any form of our construction lately is the cost. These things have
Right.
gone through the roof post-COVID. We've had a lot of price increases on the materials, especially the stuff all the way from the raw materials all the way down the
Yeah.
line. It just kind of goes from there. But we love doing our bathrooms at G2. I love the different options that are available. We use ProSource over on State Road 52.
Yes.
Lynn Skelton's the owner there, and she's just got an awesome showroom that she lets us contractors use. And there's just an unlimited amount of possibilities that you can do
Right.
in your bathroom. So that's why I love bathrooms.
What's okay? Bigger bang for your buck,
Yep.
kitchen or your big bathroom?
So right now, as far as recouping cost,
Yeah.
right now bathrooms are a little bit better on recouping cost. You're about
Okay.
60% recovery to the value of your home.
Wow.
Yeah. And a kitchen is about 50%. So believe it or not, yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
I would have
that's-
seen. Now, see, I was thinking just
Well,
showpiece.
it could potentially be because of the cost. A typical kitchen remodel could run you $60,000 to $80,000 on a regular basis, whereas a bathroom renovation is going to be $20,000 to $40,000 depending on the
Right.
bathroom itself. So that could be part of it as well. But it's basically based on the percentage. It definitely is the the bathroom that recoups a little bit more.
Wow, I would have. I would have because whoever sees your bathroom.
Yeah, you.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, that's when you walk in and everybody goes, "Oh, the kitchen looks great.
Right.
This is beautiful," and then you're like, "Well, no, wait, you got to see the bathroom because
Yeah.
it's even better."
Right. Well, and what's funny is too, you have these different types of situations where you're in your home and people are coming in. But what I tell people all the time is, when your roof goes bad, you have to get a roof, right?
Yeah.
It can't
Yeah,
leak forever.
right.
When your air conditioning goes bad, you have to do the same thing. But it's an investment in your home, right? You have to do those things. And what people kind of neglect sometimes or forget to understand is that this is still an investment in your home. You're adding value back to it. So yes, this bathroom renovation might be 40 grand, but if you gain $20,000 back on the return of investment immediately,
Yeah.
then what did you really, you lost, it was a $20,000 renovation, not a $40,000.
Exactly.
And people forget that sometimes with their mindset. So I always try to remind people of that too. Like, hey, yes, it is, but it's an investment. And you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy the hell out of this bathroom while you have it. You're going to enjoy this kitchen. So why not do it,
So and I see you do room additions.
Yep.
Okay. And now, is that, is it new on?
Yeah.
Or do you turn existing, like some of us old Florida homes?
Right.
We had a lanai
Sure.
that we had turned into.
Right.
So you had to add air conditioning. And
So we
electric.
actually do both.
Okay.
It really depends on what it is. Pasco County does require, even if you're just turning a lanai into a room, that does require a permit.
Right.
You do have to turn that into living space. The funny thing with additions is your house could be built in the 60s. If we do an addition on it, certain things have to meet current building code. So
Okay.
the electrical panels, the
Right.
plumbing, those types of things do. So that's what's tough about bidding out a job for a room addition is
Gotcha.
because you don't know what those costs are going to be. And so that's why we bring in our trusted trade partners to know, hey, our plumber comes in and says, hey, Gary, we're going to have to do these things or the county's not going to pass this permit. And the electrician, it's the same thing. So we do a lot of those different types of things with our trade partners to make sure that we're doing everything corrected
Gotcha.
and we're delivering to those customers.
Okay. Here's a question I hear, and I have this all the time.
Yeah.
And actually I talk to people. If I want a brand new door on the front of my home,
Yep.
is that a permit?
Yes, it is.
It is a permit.
Yeah. State of Florida, one of the big things that we have to deal with that most people don't deal with is wind. It's the hurricanes. It's the storms.
Oh,
That's
gotcha.
why the front door requires a permit. That's why your windows require a permit. Because when you're doing that, you're updating it to code. What they found is a few of the major things that cause people to, those catastrophic damages where the roofs come flying off. That's from wind getting inside the house and getting in between the structure itself and the roof. That's why you hear all this talk about the third nail when you're on your trusses.
Oh,
your
yeah. Yeah, wind
mitigations.
mitigation.
That's
Right.
what that's for. But
Okay.
if you notice, even garage door companies now, those have to be storm rated garage doors. So that way the wind can't blow the garage
Can't go
door
around
in
them.
and pop the roof off.
Pop the roof off. Okay. Oh, well, see that.
Yeah.
Now, is that all doors or just your front door?
It's any exterior door.
Any
Has
exterior
to be.
door?
Yep, it has
Okay.
to be. It has to be permitted. And two, it doesn't always necessarily have to be an impact door. But if you want a front door that has glass in it, that glass has to be impact rated.
Impact rated.
So now your front door that you can buy at Home Depot for $300 is now $3,000 for impact glass. So it's just a much different approach to how you're doing things.
Gotcha.
And the same thing goes for windows. Windows are the same way. Now I think Pasco County does allow maybe one. I think what they classified is less than 10% of the openings can be changed without a permit. What that does not mean, though, is that it does not have to fit building code. So
Yeah, right,
what a lot
right.
of people do is they're like, okay, I'm not pulling a permit, and then they buy a $200 window from Home Depot. Well, that window, if it's supposed to be impact rated, you're still supposed to put an impact window in. You just don't have to pull a permit for it.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't see this on here, and I'm going to ask if you
Sure.
do this, and if you say no, it's fine.
Yeah.
So say I want an outdoor kitchen.
Yep.
And I want, an awning, or not an awning, but a pergola, and all.
Yep.
Do you do that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. And that's one of the big pushes that we're actually making for 2023
Okay.
is to start getting out and doing some outdoor living spaces, whether it just be an outdoor kitchen, for a pergola, outdoor fireplace, water features. We're kind of going to start bringing all that stuff together and putting some packages out there for our
Right.
customers because it's one of the big things right now.
That I've always thought that outside in Florida,
Yep.
like we have a pool that's not covered with
Sure.
a bird cage, and I hate those things,
Right.
Because the screens always mess up and blah blah. But I've always wanted the big Roman pergolas that
Yep.
go over the pool with the Roman shades in
Absolutely.
there. So to me, that
Yeah.
is absolutely.
And why not, John? I mean, we live in the state. We have beautiful weather. It's awesome
Right.
here. I mean, why wouldn't you enjoy the outside of your home as much as you enjoy the inside when we're
Right.
doing these remodels? So, again, it's not for everybody, but some people want that extra space. Some parents don't want their kids in the house all day. Get out, go
Yeah.
out back,
Yeah.
do something. So it's something that is a nice little feature that you can do to your home. It's not cheap,
Right.
but it is a great option to have.
I've also told my wife, I keep threatening, I want the fireplace from nowhere.
Yeah.
At the end of the pool.
Yep.
we have a hill, unfortunately.
Right.
I just want nothing but this big fireplace. It looks like it used to be a house there, right?
Yeah.
Have a little fire going. It's out there by the pool.
Yeah.
Relax. Do you do stuff like that
Absolutely.
as well?
Yeah. And like I said, those are the big options that we're really trending towards right now too, because they're neat. They're different spaces, and that's what I like about doing this is just the endless possibilities that you can have. So those, especially adding challenges. We love challenges at G2. We want you to call us with your tough projects because
I got one for you.
yeah, exactly. Because then when we have those and they do turn out the way that we want them to, that's just a great statement.
So I've been threatened at my house. Okay. My kids. I am no longer so. Again, I'm the cheap guy.
Right.
I'll go to Home Depot or someone like that, and I buy these big, massive pop-up tents. No, not pop-up tents. They're permanent. That sit over a space.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to do those anymore because we have lost 4.
Because every time the wind blows, they disappear.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Well, one, one been pretty good, but it wound up in the pool. And my kids are like, no more.
Yeah.
We're not going to go out there to save these things.
Well, that's the problem too, John, and that's why, like, even those, I think Pasco requires you to have a permit to install one because they can't hold up to the wind. And the big thing you got to think of is if that thing takes off and flies 2 blocks over and goes through somebody's window,
it's my fault.
That's your fault. You know? So that's what they're trying to do with a lot of these. And a lot of people, like, oh, the counties they want their money and this and this, and it is what it is.
In a way, they do,
right.
but they're making sure that you're safe.
They're trying to limit the damage, is what it is on a lot of this stuff. And so, like I said, I mean, it's. Where we're not necessarily a window and door company, we do install windows and doors. We don't really advertise for that because obviously we can't purchase windows for the same price that a big window manufacturer can.
Right.
But it is something that's out there, and it is something that we do.
So now you have a project gallery.
Yeah.
Right.
A great project gallery.
Let's talk about that real quick because we got about 4 minutes left.
So our recent projects tabs on our website is awesome. We have a great marketing guy, Jason Bersanti, that really takes time, and he goes out and takes before, during, and after photos of each one of these projects. He puts together a video walkthrough of each one of them, and it really shows some of the options of the work that we've done. What are some of our favorite things? That's one of the good things that we put in there, and then it shows pricing too, time frames, so you can actually see what this customer paid for this job. Wow. You can look on there and go, hey,
good.
This is beautiful. This is exactly what I want. And you can see what they paid for that job. So obviously, we don't know exactly if it's going to be the same. That job could have been a year ago, 2 years, whatever.
Yep.
But at least it gives you an idea or a perspective of what it is. And then also it gives you some inspiration ideas. A lot of times when I meet with customers for the first design meeting, they don't necessarily know what they want.
Right.
And so if they see something on our website that they do love, then that's a starting point for me when I get to the showroom and being able to walk them through the process.
Right. I love, so and don't show it, Cage, but I was going through, I'm going, oh my gosh, I could do that too. That's really cool.
Right.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yep.
So are you taking on new clients right now?
Always.
I have to ask that question.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When in our process, the design process usually takes about 2 weeks. Permitting takes 6 to 8 weeks. So even if you called me today, we're going to be 3 months out before we can start your job.
Right.
Don't wait until you want the job done tomorrow and then call.
Oh, I got family coming next week.
Yeah,
well, good
exactly.
for you.
Remember, guys, the typical bathroom renovation can take 4 to 6 weeks. Whoa. Typical kitchen renovation can take 6 to 8 weeks. That's typical.
Wow.
They go longer. So there's a big part of that people don't always understand. They're like, oh, we're just changing some cabinets and doing this. They don't realize when we do a bathroom renovation that we've got 4 building inspections the first week. And good old Pasco County goes, hey, we'll be there between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Yeah. And you have a guy sit all day long.
Well, we can't. What we're going to do? We're going to pay these guys. You're going to pay these guys to do that?
Right.
They can't, So we end up having a dead work day those days, and it really slows down that process.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's like, well, you're just standing there. Why can't you do something? We can't do nothing because it has to be inspected to be able to move forward.
Exactly, right.
God have mercy. That's amazing. So, so what part of Florida do you cover, brother?
So we're all of Pasco County. We do most of Hernando County, North Pinellas, and North Hillsborough County. So we won't go to South Tampa. We don't go to Seminole, any of those places. And the main reason being, not that we don't want to go down there. Our guys are in-house employees. They get to the shop at 7 a.m., they clock in, and then they go to work, okay?
Right.
Now, if they have to drive an hour each way, that's an hour each way. I'm charging the customer additional for a 6-week job.
Right.
So you can imagine what the cost difference is there. Now, if we have a customer that calls us and says they see our stuff and they say, Gary, I don't care, I want you to do it, we'll go to Seminole. We'll go to South Tampa. But I do just try to keep everything relative to the customers. I don't want anybody to ever think that we're taking advantage of something like that.
Right.
But we have costs that we have to cover, and unfortunately we have to pass that on to the customer.
Yeah, that is absolutely phenomenal. So why? We only got a minute left.
Yeah.
Why did you get into this world?
Me and my dad my dad's been doing construction for, 40 years. He's had tons of different jobs, different trades in these industries. And we kind of got into we decided we wanted to do our own business when I went to work for a company that was buying and flipping houses before the market crashed.
Right.
And I worked doing concrete and masonry. He was doing roofing at the time. And I remember like my first week just calling my dad and be like, hey man, like we got to do this. Like this is way easier than what we're doing. Right. So we decided that we would start our own thing. My dad, for the first 2 years, he stayed at his roofing contractor job and basically kind of helped bankroll and get us going.
Right.
We kind of went through the process and learned and grew through it. And really the main reason is because we wanted to make sure that we could give back to the community, which we just started doing with the G2 Community Youth Foundation.
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have to get on it for another time for the Youth Foundation. But and then also to be able to help with our employees.
Right.
We didn't always have the best jobs. In construction, it's kind of a stigma where it's not a great place to work.
Right.
And I think you can pretty much ask any of our employees that we treat our guys good. We want them to come to work and be happy. We want them to be successful because the more happy they are, the more successful they are, the better we are.
Better you are. Absolutely. Well, brother, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man.
I
told you I was going to eat up this 26 minutes.
And that's good because I didn't have to talk a lot. And I'm old and I'm losing my voice and everything. So listen, everybody, if you're out there and you're looking for a good construction company to take care of those big and small projects, this is the man to call. Get a hold of them and don't wait to the last minute. I'm just saying, thanks for watching. We'll see everybody next week on Open for Business.